Parents, are you and your children fighting for every last inch of their education? Are you dealing with virtual school and learning where everything has been turned on its head? Or are they just studying and working hard and you can't quite figure out why they aren't getting ahead? Below, I'm going to talk about some study skills, what you can do to help your child build up those study habits and the ability to learn for longer. And we're also going to talk about the worst thing you can do. And trust me, there is a worse thing you can do. Before we get into it, roll the credits. Get rid of the idea that just doing more in a row is going to get you better grades or better understanding of the topic. Don't get me wrong. You need to spend time, your child needs to spend time working on his study skills. But the reality is that just like if you started running and on your first day you went from running 0 miles per week to trying to run 20 miles in a row, you're going to destroy their ability to actually follow through. Mental recovery is a thing, and there's a strategy that can help you learn. Think about how long it takes you when you're sitting down and working on something before you start getting distracted off. For most people who start off, it's somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes. Maybe for your kids, it's a little bit shorter. We know that if they're going to be working really hard for about 20 minutes, or whatever time it is that you can get your child to be able to sit down and kind of keep going before they're hitting their head against the wall, all we need to do is say, okay, take a short 5-minute break. In an in-person school setting, those kind of breaks are built into how teachers usually teach. And the key here is, after those 5 minutes, we work on having them jump back on in. Here's the second worst thing we can do. Talk to the kids like they are born natively with talent in whatever they do. They're good at math, they're good at science, or they're good at English and reading. And yes, to a certain extent, there are things that might come to certain kids more, but a lot of that has to do with what's going on around them and some advantages they might have that their peers don't. Instead, talk about the effort that they are doing. There are two ways that this could work. With a student who is struggling, who isn't generally doing well, and they're being told that, hey, you are just born not good. You're bad at math, you're bad at science. What they're going to learn, they're being trained to think, is that I can't learn it, so I might as well quit. Carol Dweck at one point shared the story that she did an intervention to talk about this idea of growth mindset in an inner city school. And she actually had a child who came up to her and said, does this mean that I don't have to be stupid? We want to teach our kids that they can get better, not to be like this child and feel defeated whenever things are difficult. Because the truth is everybody had to learn everything. As educators, teachers, and parents, it's not only about what we teach our kids, telling them about this idea that you can always work hard and get better. It's best to also use language that highlights that process. Talk about how much better they're getting or how hard they're working, not that they've just become better. That key difference in how we're talking about things, it means we're encouraging them to practice. And on the best students, this is even worse. Kids who are getting praise because things have been in their environment helping them get better grades early on are being told that you're good at math, you're good at English, you're good at science, which then teaches them that the moment you don't understand, you just weren't good enough. We all know the basics of flashcards. You put a word or an idea and you put a lot of information on the other side about that idea. Let's make it better. Instead of just having text on the other side, you can create an image that is roughly like what you need. So if the word is like seething for an older child, then you can have a photo of a pot boiling over or someone with steam coming out of their ears. There's one study skill that is better than anything else for creating a long-term lasting memory. And there's a way for this to work very naturally for a parent working with a younger child who you want to encourage to keep learning and learn more. And the idea is this: if you can explain what you've learned or what you know simply with simple language, then you know that you have it in your long-term memory. And that way you have a real mastery of the topic. For me, I would always, as a high school and college student, teach myself, or really an imaginary person, the topic. Okay, so that makes a lot of sense for older kids to be talking to themselves in the mirror or just like explaining an idea to their friends. How could parents use this, especially with younger kids? It's easier than you'd think. All you have to do is, at the end of the day, at the dinner table, ask the question: what's one thing that you learned today in each class? And ask them to explain it. And even better, if we're really excited and like, wow, that's cool and interesting, even though we probably already know what our younger kid is telling us, they're going to be able to have the energy to want to keep telling you. It helps them be engaged and excited about the idea and retrain it without really knowing. The bottom line is, though, learning is supposed to be fun. For the youngest kids, and when you first start learning, it's all about play. You learn through play. Kids don't learn how to speak English or move their body because somebody is standing at the front lecturing at them. It's because they're exploring different things and ideas. And they have the excitement about learning new things. The key is being able to keep up that excitement and keep up the fun. And most of that is making sure that we work to learn smarter, taking those breaks, building the ability to have different ways of studying so that you're not always doing the same thing.